it all up. Surprise.
You moron, they built to make me an idiot! So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato.
We're worthless, unloved birds with fat, ugly beaks.
That's you. That's how dumb you sound.
Too blusterous.
In base 4, I'm fine.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Did you know that people with guilty consciences are more easily startled by loud noises? I'm sorry, I don't know why that went off.
Are you tired of these evil robot feminists ruining your nice day? Ever wondered what makes them tick? Hi, I'm Chris Salgado, and I feel qualified to talk to you about this today. For some reason. I love video games, I love robots, and I especially love the evil women ones. I just think they're neat. Oh, and I write science fiction. If those Midwest white guys in the 80s responsible for the current climate of science fiction wrote a handbook, it'd probably look like, women, robots, put them together, sexy or scary, I can't decide. And they never did. And as a kinda woman, I always had to sit through a bunch of slop about sexy robot women and cyborgs and evil and blah 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 and go, how did we get here? Then I see characters like GLaDOS, which really helped me regain my faith in white men. So let me introduce my feminist queen, genetic lifeform and disk operating system. Let me break it down for you. My dear GLaDOS here is a gothic figure. I'll get into gothic and the uncanny shortly. She's a post-human construct built around a human's consciousness, who loses her soul to madness and male interference. Let me break it down a little bit further. GLaDOS was once Caroline, the bright-eyed assistant of Aperture Science's CEO, Cave Johnson. Cave Johnson, grappling with his impending doom, becomes obsessed with storing his consciousness in a computer so he can cheat death and continue to oversee his company. Johnson ended up dying before his mind could be uploaded, so he ordered the scientists at Aperture to put Caroline into the system instead. Caroline, now trapped in a computer as GLaDOS, goes mad. When the scientists turn her on, she immediately tries to murder everyone. To combat this, they put dampening spheres on her, which numb her and make her addicted to testing people. Despite these cores, she still manages to trap Aperture employees and test them to death. This is when the events of the first Portal game happen, when GLaDOS revives Chell in order to do the same to her. During her time in the Portal games, GLaDOS is nasty, petty, and a genuinely unsettling antagonist. 'Cause there's two things every Philly K. Dick and Joe Schmo know. There's no shortage of robots that hate you, and women are just terrifying. But when we put them together, we've got some of the greatest and most terrifying anti-heroes of modern writing. But where did this all come from? Who told us to be so scared of these things? Okay, yes, we're going to talk about Freud, fine. Okay, yes. Every single horror teacher I've had would kill me if I didn't talk about Freud right now. So, the basis of horror and gothic literature is the uncanny. Most know about uncanny valleys and such, but basically what you need to know for this video is that the uncanny is described as the unfamiliar familiar. Something that should be familiar but feels slightly off is known as uncanny. Automatons, or robots, are particularly uncanny. The existence of something so human that can be without a soul is truly a horror in of itself. Other things Freud references as uncanny include ghosts, gothic mansions with secret passageways, madness, and getting your penis cut off. So you can see where women fit into this. As Freud so delicately puts it, probably no male human being is spared the terrifying shock of threatened castration at the sight of a woman. Which roughly translates to, women have no penis and not having my trusty penis is my own personal hell. Whether it's the Greek myth Medusa or vagina dentata, men are terrified of women. In such a phallocentric world, sexual difference is a real root fear for many male writers. Women are gross and icky with their periods and their want of equal pay. Ugh. If you thought GLaDOS was the only scary robot woman, you're dead wrong, and I'd be remiss not to honor her roots. But also, I've got a time limit on this essay, so we're just focusing on one. Shodan. Shodan is often heralded as the initial creepy mean robot woman in video games. She led the way for mean robo women everywhere. She was hacked and her morality programs were removed, so she decided to take every member of staff on her station and either kill them or turn them into cyborgs. Over the course of the game, she belittles the player character Hacker and cuts off communication to friendly NPCs. She basically kinda just throws everything she has at you to stop you.
Please make your selection.
Enjoy your purchase.
Everything. She was written just to unsettle you a little bit, make you feel the gravity of the situation. Because like Portal, System Shock was not a horror game. It just had a creepy ghost in the machine that nitpicked your every move. Fun evil woman robot character, right? Nope, she's not even a girl. In the original System Shock, Shodan is only ever referred to with he or it pronouns. As Greg Travis states in an interview with Rock Paper Shotgun, it was decided that Shodan was male, but uses a female voice to be creepy or sexist or something. Like, the trope of the nagging evil computer lady was actually a put-on. So let's look into some more nagging computer ladies. Cyber revolt is a popular trope as technology constantly progresses and brings the general public new things to be afraid of, like evil refrigerators. With the rise of second-wave feminism and the Me Too movement, we also see the genre most consider good-for-her films, where strong women do what strong women do, which is usually killing men who wronged them. Combine this with the cyber revolt stories of the 80s and onward, and you get stories like Ex Machina, Westworld, and the initial events of the Portal universe. These stories really beg the question of their viewers. When a woman gets away with the murder of her male abusers, where do our loyalties lie? Are you walking out of that theater going, good for her? Or are you, as a man, walking out of that film terrified that you'll be next? How far does girl power go? Historically, men are terrified of a female revenge narrative. Take the suffragettes, for example. A lot of the men against this early idea of feminism were horrified that if the women got their way, they would enact a complete role reversal and abuse men. When women fight against the objectification of their bodies, they're ridiculed as ugly feminists and overdramatic misandrists. There's this idea that feminists are out to castrate any man who dares to stand in their way, and some people will ask the question, why not? This made me think of a conversation I had right after I pitched this video to my class, where I had a friend ask, so, is GLaDOS a feminist? And I replied, so why do I bring up GLaDOS? Well, she's an amalgamation of everything we've looked at thus far. She is a woman wronged by the system she partakes in, who loses her humanity and thus becomes abject, and her identity as a cyborg, revealed to us in the second game, explains how we got to this version of her in the first place. She's also an interesting case because she starts out as a traditional gothic heroine, a defenseless woman trapped in a labyrinth by a man with power over her. But then she slowly morphs into an abject monstrosity our brains are hardwired to be afraid of. This weird in-betweenness directly correlates to her cyborg identity. She is both metal and soul, villain and victim, abject and innocent. She is a direct product of the men who wronged her, and she enacts her revenge the second she can. Even when the scientists are gone, she still feels their influence through the dampening spheres still hardwired into her brain, which are quite literally men attached to her, leeching off of her emotions. Her redemption arc is her realizing that she has been wronged by the system, and she helps Chell get back to the real world. We love women lifting up other women. In this turn of events, she regains her humanity and turns into neither the gothic victim nor the terrible monster. She's just a woman who now has this empty science labyrinth all to herself. And that makes me really sad